This is crazy time. Wisconsin had its presidential primary yesterday, and they showed up to vote. And the story you're being told by the media is those evil Republicans made people show up in the middle of this pandemic, despite the fact that it was dangerous when we just could have delayed the election. And look at those evil Republicans on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. They made people do it too. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be crystal clear. That is categorically false. Neither the United States Supreme Court, which ruled on it, nor the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which ruled on it, made any decision whatsoever about in-person voting. Listen to me, because this story won't make any sense for you. That is 1,000% true. There was no decision on in-person voting. In other words, for the liberals listening who are lying to themselves and to others, nobody in any court ruled yesterday that Wisconsinites had to show up to vote in the middle of a pandemic in person. Nobody. That was never, ever in the court case. Well, what was in the court case? Because again, we've been told the evil Republicans made people vote in Wisconsin. They could have got people killed. Totally, completely false. Let's go to this Wall Street Journal article, which lays it out nicely. By the way, I have another piece from Andy McCarthy, who's a little mad at me right now from National Review, but that's okay. I love Andy. In the show notes today, that is definitely worth your time if you want a detailed legal analysis, too, from a professional attorney, what happened here. It's in the show notes, bongino.com/newsletter. I'll send you the articles every day. But this Wall Street Journal article lays out those stubborn things called the facts show of what actually happened. So, Wall Street Journal editorial board, Wisconsin's election confusion. Decisions to alter voting need to follow the law, even in a pandemic. The law, Democrats are like, screw the law, schmaw, we don't need any of that. So again, you've been told, Wisconsin Republicans on the court told people, you better go out and vote today no matter what, even if you die. And the Democrats were trying to save you. They were, because that's not what happened, because actually the people who sued and caused this whole thing were the Democrats. Let's go to screenshot number 1 from the Wall Street Journal article. Wisconsin planned to mitigate the coronavirus threat with a large increase in vote by mail, so fewer people would need to leave their homes. Sounds good. But the Democrat National Committee sued to force the delay of the election outright. Oh, so wait, was a Democrat lawsuit? Wait, I thought the Republican. So the Democrats are the ones who sued. By the way, they tell you the governor of Wisconsin is a Democrat too? You might have missed that one also. I'm sorry. So in a state run by Democrats, where a Democrat lawsuit threw the election into chaos, the Republicans did this? No, Dan. It was the dastardly Republicans on the Supreme Court that ordered people to show up and vote on it. They did? That's what happened? Because that's funny. That wasn't actually in the lawsuit. Strange. Let's go on. Let's read some more about what happened. I know the facts are very disturbing for liberals. They have a tough time with that kind of stuff. So here's what actually happened. Last Thursday, a federal judge, an Obama appointee, by the way, an Obama appointee, let me say that again, an Obama appointed judge, not a Republican appointed judge, denied the extreme request, but said vote by mail needed to be extended. Keep that up for a second. The extreme request, ladies and gentlemen, was to allow voting by mail postmarked after the election. That's insane. Goes on. Instead of receiving ballots by April 7th, which was election day yesterday, he said clerks needed to count any ballots received by next Monday, April 13th. Joe, regardless if they came in before the election or not, if they were postmarked, meaning you could vote after election day, which is crazy. Now, this Obama judge, after apparently realizing this could distort the electoral process by allowing news reports of the election to influence votes after the election, Joe, the judge issues another order and bans the state election board from reporting any results before next Monday.
Jeez.
Wait, what? It goes, I'm going to explain this to you in a minute. I know it gets a little complicated. The Republican National Committee asked the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene. You can't vote after an election. And 5 justices agreed that the district judge, the Obama judge, was outside his authority. This is where it gets a little complicated, but don't worry, I'll explain.
Okay.
His remedy, the Obama judge's remedy, air quotes, would have fundamentally altered the nature of the election by allowing voting for 6 additional days after the election, the Supreme Court wrote. And by trying to muzzle election results, they added, the district court, in essence, enjoined non-parties to this lawsuit. What does that mean? This is important. This is critical. That's where it gets a little complicated, right? Ladies and gentlemen, the Obama judge who rules insanely, by the way. Again, there is nothing in the ruling about you have to show up to vote in person. That's a silly, I'll play Stephen Colbert in a minute. Left-wing hack pretending to be a comedian, gaslighting people and suggesting the Republicans did this. There is nothing it's the Democrat lawsuit. There is nothing in the lawsuit forcing people to show up to vote. Nothing. The Democrats wanted you to be able to vote after Election Day. In other words, you can get a mail-in ballot received after Election Day. It's not a problem as long as it's postmarked on Election Day or earlier. Makes sense. You had to vote before, even by mail. Not hard to understand, folks. We don't have perpetual voting. We'd still be voting in the 2016 election. Hey, I got my vote. It's postmarked 3 years after the election. That's good too. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about a world of good or bad. We're talking about a world of competing harms. Of course, we want everybody to be able to vote. We shouldn't shut voting down ever. Really? So you want perpetual elections where the election's in doubt 2 years after the election? That's why we put a timeline on it. The Democrats wanted people to vote after Election Day. Think about that, folks. News reports. News Joe in downtown Madison, we're short 1,000 votes for the Democrat nominee. 1,000. It's after Election Day. Hey, let's go out and tell 1,000 more people to vote after Election Day. Of course you can. Do you understand the chaos that would ensue? And then the Wisconsin Election Commission, who was not part and parcel of this lawsuit at all, was muzzled. This same judge with this absurd decision says, to prevent votes after Election Day, Joe, which is crazy enough, from being influenced by the news reports, I'm forbidding the Wisconsin Election Commission, which was not part of this lawsuit, from saying anything about the election until a week after the election. That's what they mean in that Wall Street Journal quote about their parties not enjoined in the lawsuit. They weren't even allowed in. They weren't even part and parcel of the lawsuit. So the Election Commission gets ruled against despite not being part of the lawsuit at all. In other words, they didn't even have the legal right to say anything in their defense because they weren't part of the lawsuit and the judge just made them part of the lawsuit. Hey, you shut up. Don't say anything for a week. What? This is crazy time.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud and follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.